So just completed turn number 5. So heading into turn 6, January 39 here. So war is fast approaching. The Germans took advantage of the head start that they have in terms of being able to build medium armor several turns before any other nation. So they bought 3 medium armor represented by the Panzer Mark III sculpt, and those are in Bavaria. And they also sent an infantry to Spain. And that was it for Germany. Again, not a lot going on, just kind of maneuvering into position. The French responded by building 3 more infantry they put in Paris. Again, because of the threat of the German paratroopers, France has got to kind of evenly divide their forces between Alsace-Lorraine, the Maginot Line, and Paris itself. As far as Russia, they upgraded a minor to a medium factory in Novosibirsk. And again, they're at the border. They've got 3 attacks planned, which were 1 turn away from Russia being able to invade neutral countries. And on the July 39 turn, when they're able to do that, I can see them launching 3 attacks on their turn in Mongolia, in the Far East, southern Russia down into Iran, and in northern Russia, Karelia, into Finland. So Russia's poised to start spreading the communist creed throughout the globe. As far as the UK goes, they upgraded a militia in Central Africa, built another fighter they put down in South Africa, and then an infantry in Cairo. So that was about it for the UK. Both their fleets and the French just kind of in a holding pattern in the Mediterranean, seeing what the Italians might do. As far as Italy, they finally brought their transports over into Africa. They dropped off 4 infantry in Cyrenaica. So they now have a stack of 5 infantry, a motorized infantry, 2 fighters, and a tactical there. The transports came over without protection, but since it is peacetime, no danger of those transports being attacked. So Italy was free to just move them without any naval protection. They did send an infantry to Spain as well. So Franco's forces got a little bit of bump up with 2 infantry that turn. As far as the U.S., they finished off a fleet carrier and put another fleet carrier down on the production chart. And the fleet carrier they put over in the Pacific. So nothing over here in the Atlantic or on the East Coast of the United States. All of that has pretty much been in the same position for several turns now. The U.S. can't move any of these naval units until they reach a certain income level, at least move them over into the Pacific. So that's probably what's going to happen once the U.S. gets to the requisite income level, is probably go ahead and move most of these ships over into the Pacific, just because the way things stand right now, the British can probably handle both Germany and Italy on their own, at least in terms of for naval supremacy, at least. So the U.S. will probably send most of those ships, with the exception of maybe some transports and some escorts, over in the Pacific once they're able to do that. Besides that, really not much going on. Income levels stayed the same, at least here in Europe. As far as the Spanish Civil War, it was completely quiet this last turn. So both sides are kind of exhausted from several years of conflict. Both sides just kind of building up. Obviously, the German and Italian-backed forces get 2 units a turn, whereas the Russian-backed forces only get 1. So Franco's forces are coming out ahead each turn, but as you can see, both sides are pretty much about even right now. So I'm not sure one side is going to be able to get the upper hand here. You've got 3 artillery and 2 infantry on one side, and 3 artillery and 4 infantry on the other. So it's pretty even. All the territories that have units in them right now are complete mountain territories. So if one of the side or the other was to attack, they're going to face the penalties because of the mountain territory. So that reduces their chances even that much further of being successful. So it might be just kind of a standoff for a little bit, which honestly, I think that benefits the Comintern and eventually the Allies more, because that's just that many more turns that Germany and Italy is sending units to Spain, taking away from what they could be using to eventually fight both the Comintern and the Allies. And especially with Italy only collecting $10 a turn, even just sending 3 IPPs for an infantry is, 30% of their income per turn. So the Axis were definitely hoping that the Spanish Civil War would have been wrapped up in their favor right now, but it looks like that might be prolonged for several turns to come. And the Axis don't want to just throw in the towel and give up, not only because it's still about a 50-50 proposition, but obviously that's a victory point for both Germany and Italy. So see how that plays out. In the Pacific, the Japanese did finish off a fleet carrier, so that bumped up the U.S. income by $1. And that fleet carrier has a tactical and a fighter in it in Japanese home waters. They also brought more transports and men down here to Formosa. So that's a stack of probably about 10 infantry and a cavalry. So they definitely have significant ground units now that they can invade, launch an amphibious assault anywhere down here in the South Pacific. Didn't really do anything with this fleet over here, but not really much has to be done. That fleet is kind of secondary to what this one over here is going to be doing. Besides that, not much for Japan. The Far East Command, they're only collecting $5 a turn, so not a whole heck of a lot they can do. They put 1 infantry down in Calcutta, save the other couple dollars. Same thing with Anzac. They're only collecting $3 a turn, so you're not going to do much with $3. They just save their money. The U.S., we already talked about. They dropped down their completed fleet carrier off of San Francisco. That was about it for the U.S. And then in the Chinese Civil War, again, the CCP just kind of keeping it rolling from the last turn, so they were able to influence another warlord. The territory wasn't worth any money, but they picked up 3 infantry and a cavalry. So now the balance of forces as well as income levels have pretty much evened out. So the KMT has lost its advantage both in terms of units and income right now. And it just goes to show you that if the KMT doesn't, kind of stomp on the CCP like almost right away, unless the CCP is just getting horrible rolls for influencing the warlords, it's really difficult because once this northern warlord aligned with the CCP, not only did they pick up 3 territories worth of units, but that was worth, I believe, $4. So that took their income from 2 to 6. So they're collecting $6 at the end of the turn, and they owned 4 territories. So they spent their entire $6 to influence a warlord roll on top of the 4 territories they own. That's a 10. So on a 12-sided die, they get a 10 or less, and there you go. There's another warlord in their pocket. And that's exactly what happened. They rolled an 8, and that's how this warlord over here joined the communists. So they're just, rolling up the warlords right now, adding those forces to their own units. and really turning the tide against the KMT, just like they did in the first game. So the KMT, seeing this, obviously you can't just sit back and do nothing. Each territory, each warlord that joins the communists, it just puts you that much further in the hole. So they went ahead and went up into this newly acquired warlord territory for the communists. There were 3 infantry and a cavalry defending. They sent both their cavalry and 5 infantry in and didn't get a single hit and lost all 5 infantry and then retreated the 2 cavalry out of there. So pretty disastrous all the way around for the KMT on this last turn. They still have decent forces here in Szechuan, probably about 7 infantry and 2 cavalry. But their other territories are either vacant of units or have just a single infantry each. So, and again, if the CCP spends all their money to influence the warlord die roll along with the now 5 territories they own, it's pretty much a guarantee that every turn they're going to add another warlord to their side. So it looks like for the second game in a row, the KMT are going to lose the Chinese Civil War. So that's how things look at the end of 5 turns. I think we're still going to have a little bit of a slowdown prior to maybe turn number 7 when things will really pick up, both in the Pacific and the European theater.